Hi, how you doing? What's going on? Welcome to the replay. Welcome to Daily Fuel. My name is Bobby. I am the host of this group, The Spiritual Artist, and yeah, we're doing some work here. If you're ready to ride, if you're ready to ride, then say hi. If you're in the replay, then say hello in the replay and let me know that you're here. Write a hashtag, write a funny comment. I don't know. Just write something. Some of you are commenting now like you're live but in the replays, and I don't understand the context because I don't remember what I said, and I find that funny. But I look at them, I read them, I like them, I heart them, I comment back sometimes. I judge all of them. I do. I'm a very judgmental person, as you can tell. And if you're here live, then say hello, as some of you already are. Kelly is here. Hi. Division sign. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Kelly. I don't know what that means, but hi. Was that supposed to be a hashtag, but you did the wrong thing? I don't know. They're not even near each other. Where is the division sign on the keyboard? I don't even know where that is. How did you type a division sign? I don't even see one on my keyboard. Now I see this hair here. It's going to bug me all day. Kirsten is here and ready to ride. Hello, Kirsten. How are you? Kirsten, this is funny because I had ego in my mind for a little while to do. Marsha had said ego a while back, and I was going to do it today because yesterday on Daily Fuel, I said something about the ego goes along for the ride, and I was like, ooh, and I wrote that down. And then I was writing up my spiel ideas for today, and I saw a notification come up, and it was Kirsten saying, you should do it about taming the ego. And I was like, I'm doing it right now. Leave me alone. Wait. So, wait. Here we are. And Ray is here. Hi. And Amy is here. Hello. Almost missed it. My ego wanted to not see this one. Your ego wanted to not see. And Robin's here. Hi, Robin. How are you? And wet hands. Wet hands. What does that mean? Wet hands? I don't understand your comments today. You had wet hands and hit the division sign? Is that what you mean? I don't even know how. But you know what? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. And Brandy is here. Hi. Brandy and Robin raising my hand. I don't know what that symbol is. I can't see it from here. Anyway, wow, we're at 3 minutes. That's a mistake. I'm not supposed to do that. We're supposed to start like a minute ago. Anyway, let's get started. Oh, I forgot to hit the thing. Hang on. This is important because I don't hit it and then somebody pops up that didn't click the link and then I can't find them. Okay, now I have hit it. All right, now we start. Ego on the ride. Take your ego along for the ride. I couldn't think of, I try to do these in 4 words because of the graphic that I do, and I was having a hard time coming up with 4 words for this one. I came up with ego on the ride, but my initial one was take your ego along for the ride. I was like, that's way more than 4 words. But that's kind of the idea here is to get where you want to go, but take your ego with you, because a lot of times we're trying to vanquish our ego as if it's a parasite or an enemy or something that's trying to stop us. And really, the ego is not trying to stop us or hurt us or anything. The ego is trying to keep us safe. And if we can just sort of think differently about the way we see our ego, then maybe we can start to deal with it a little bit better. So here's some things to understand about the ego: is that your ego is completely 3D centric and known centric. And what do I mean by that? Well, what do I say all the time? We are spiritual beings having a human experience. Your ego is a 3D entity having a human experience with you in the 3D. It only knows 3D. Everything is 3D. It only sees cause and effect. Correlation equals causation, right? That means that when it sees this happen and then it sees that happen, the ego just means, well, that happened and then that happened, so that means that caused that. That your ego just sees the world that way. There's no magic to the ego. There is no magic. It is known centric, but we know that all the magic of the universe happens in the unknown, in the present moment. But the ego only sees the past, as Dr. Joe Dispenza calls the known past, the familiar past, or the predictable future based on the known past. Well, every time we do that, that thing happens. So I bet if we try that thing again, that thing's going to happen again, and your ego kind of just sees the world in that way. Everything that's known and predictable is safe for the ego. So it tries to keep you in that zone. It's why we like our comfort zone so much, because it's safe. It's known, it's predictable. Yeah, there might be consequences, but I know how to deal with that stuff. I know how to deal with the annoyances of that. None of that stuff that is going to really hurt me. I know how to deal with it. I deal with it all the time, and it never really, it just annoys me, or that my life isn't exactly what I want, but it's not bad, and it's kind of comfortable. But if I reach for the stars, if I try for something really, really big, I might land on my ass. I might be embarrassed. I might fail. I might lose everything. I might, whatever your ego tells you is the big risk. That's what your ego is afraid of, and it doesn't want that to happen to you. So it tries to not let you do the big things. Don't follow your vision. Do what's set right in front of you that's easy. So how do we tame the ego? How do we deal with it? How do we take the ego along for the ride? What is the ride? First of all, where are we going? The ride is we're trying to attain our vision. We're trying to listen to Source's call, to the big picture that we want, this life that we're trying to create, the life focused on our art that we're trying to make here. We want that. We really, really, really want that. Your ego would like it, but sure, that sounds great, but nobody achieves that. It's hard, really, really hard to do. You're going to starve to death before you get there, so don't. It's what your ego's saying. But we can go for the ride, and we can take the ego along with us, and as Kirsten said, we can tame the ego, and here's how, very quickly. 3 things is, number 1, you can talk to your ego as if it's like a part of you. You can have a conversation. You can be the parent part of you and pretend that the ego is the child part. Be the parent for a minute. You're a grown-up, right? Be the parent for a second. Talk to your ego like you would talk to a young child, and just explain, validate the ego's concerns. I know that when we tried this thing in the past, it didn't work out, right? I get it. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. We fell down. We busted our knee open. We got a broken nose. Whatever. It doesn't matter, right? I know. You're right. You're absolutely right. But it's not fun being here. And I know that we want something bigger. And I know that you want something bigger too. So we're going to try it again. And we're going to try it as a team this time. And I'm going to hold your hand through it. We can do it together. Will you please try this with me? And if you practice that, and I know it sounds silly, but if you think of your ego as a little child, that's really all it is a scared child having a tantrum that doesn't want you to do anything. Would you vanquish that child? Shut up, we'll never get there. It's like, no, you wouldn't kill the child that does. I hope not. Get out of my group if you would, right? But you wouldn't do that. You would soothe the child. You would say, hey, we'll do that thing later. We're doing this right now. Come with me. I've got you. I'm the grown up. I've got you. We got this. So be that, but validate the ego's concerns. Its concerns are not wrong. It doesn't know about the magic. It doesn't know. So number 2 is you've got to do your daily practice work. You've got to do your energy work. The energy work, the meditating, the yoga, the art, anything that gets you in the zone, right? I'll do another one on this again if you don't know what I'm talking about, but when we do that energy work, this is what happens. It lets us, the part of us who's being the adult now, it lets us know what we're trying to accomplish. Because if we're wishy-washy, if we don't really know what the vision is, if we don't really know what the desires are, if we're like, come along for the ride with me, and then the ego's like, well, where are we going? And you're like, gee, I don't know. The ego's going to be like, we can't do this. And you're going to be like, you're right, we can't. You have to do the work to know where you're going. If you know where you're going, and you know what the vision is, and oh man, I can taste it, I can feel it, and I know that I can do it, and you can come with me because I've got this. I will hold your hand and I will guide you to it. If you're wishy-washy, the ego is going to put you right back in your comfort zone. If you're resolved to know exactly where you want to go, then the ego is going to be like, all right, well, that does sound kind of cool. What would a child say? Come on, where are we going? The child would say, where are we going? I don't know. I guess it'll be fun. Let's just see what happens. The child's gonna be like, I don't want to do that. I want to watch cartoons, right? But if the child says, where are we going? And you're like, we're going to Disney World and we're going to ride the greatest rides ever. The child's going to get all excited about it. The ego will get excited about your vision if you are resolved in it. So that's number 2. Do your daily practice. Do your energy work. Do whatever you need to do to get in the zone and know for a fact, this is me. I can do this. This is what I want to be when I grow up, right? That's it. And then number 3, this is the important part here. Now you're doing this with your ego as a team. Ask the ego, ask the child part of you, hey, keep your eyes open. I want you to recognize and admit when we see a miracle happen. Okay? When we see the magic happen, you say that this causes this. Well, what if this thing happens and nothing seems to have caused it? Will you admit that it was a miracle? And the ego will begrudgingly at first say, yeah, I'll admit that, but maybe that was just a once in a lifetime shot, that something like that would never happen again. And then it does. And then your ego's like, well, that's kind of interesting that happened twice, and now it's happening all the time. If you can get your ego to understand that, hey, this is how the magic happens. This is where the part that you can't see is coming into play. There's something happening that you can't see, but I can. Trust me on that. Can you trust me on that? The ego, with some proof, will begin to trust you, and then the proof will come faster and faster and faster until you're there and you're like, what's the next vision? So and breathe. Breathing is very important. I've heard people tell me that. So do that. Do those 3 things. Okay. I'm not going to repeat them. But anyway, let's go through there's some comments. And I said hi to you guys, and Kelly is giving me multiplication symbols and stuff, and Brandy hashtag inflating Bobby's ego. Yeah, flattery will get you everywhere with me, so you can inflate my ego all the time. Just say nice things about me, and I will be your best friend. That's true. Robin says, like in school when the teacher calls our name and we raise our hand and say, here, LOL. What? I don't know what that means. Boom in the room. Haley's here. Hi. Lion's Tooth. Haley is here. Nice to see you. And Kirsten, my fears are not even valid. I never failed like it says I will. I have a feeling Robin's referring to like when I was saying hi to everybody and everybody was saying they're here. Is that what you meant? Because now I'm reading this with my entire spiel in my head and I don't know, that doesn't seem to fit. Anyway, so sorry about that. But anyway, Kirsten says, my fears are not even valid. I never failed like it says I will. Well, that's true, right? It's like that's a good point. So your ego is trying to get you to not do this thing because it doesn't want you to fail miserably, because maybe at some point something didn't work out right. Maybe it just didn't materialize perfectly, or you wanted to get to this level, but you only got to this level, something like that. And your ego is just like, well, you didn't make it all the way to the top, so you may as well just be stuck at the bottom. So let's not do that, and so it will see anything less than perfection as utter failure, and it will always be worried that there's a tiger in the bushes ready to pounce on you, that people are going to pull the plug on your project, or they're going to go back on their word, or cheat you somehow, and it's like, because sometimes it's not even because it's happened to us, but it's like, ooh, somebody wants to do this project with me, or somebody wants to have me in their gallery, and I heard of this artist. Let's say that for an example. You've always wanted to get into this gallery or a gallery or whatever, right? And now you've been invited to present your work. And suddenly you're all excited now because you've been doing the work to get there. But now what happens? Your ego starts to say, did we read an article one time about somebody who was in this gallery and they cheated him, or so and so was supposed to be in this gallery but they changed their mind at the last minute because now they said I could do it in 3 weeks, but what if over the course of that 3 weeks they changed their minds? Your ego can just make up scenarios. You're absolutely right, Kirsten. Things that have never even happened before or are just ridiculous. The worst case scenario, really. The ego just makes up worst case scenarios and worries about them. Whew. Hang on. I'm gonna have some water here before I read this half essay from my friend Amy. Did you see that? I don't think you did. Amy says, life gets more wonderful and less emotional when you talk with your ego. Yeah, I talk softly to it and inform it of what my plans are. I tell it that I understand it's nervous and scared and sad, but I let it know it's okay, and together we can do it. So you do that already. That's awesome, and you're now saying like, oh, I do that, and it works. So see, Amy said it works. So do what I say. Thank you, Amy. Your check's in the mail. Richard, tame the ego. Yeah, tame the ego, man. We can do it. Kelly. I am learning to look at even yesterday's version of myself as this younger, more vulnerable, less wise person. And it makes it easier to feel compassion for and forgive whatever mistakes or missteps I made or took. Wow, so even me yesterday is not as wise and learned as me now, which means that me now is not as wise and learned and as me tomorrow, right? Or next week or next year. So that's good, even because every day has a lesson, right? Likewise, looking at my ego as the less evolved conscious being in need of guidance. Likewise, looking at my ego as the less evolved conscious being in need of guidance and leadership, it helps me step into the role of caretaker for myself. Yeah, that's the thing to remember, is that the ego is actually a part of you. It's not a thing that latched on. It's like, oh, look, Kelly's being born. Let me latch on and I'm going to bug her for her entire life. Oh, they're never going to feed you. Oh, they're never going to change your diaper. It's like, all that stuff. And it's like, when did it begin? When I hear my kids as they were growing up, like worried about like, what if the teacher doesn't like me on the first day of school? Or it's like, why would you think that? It's like, it's almost like it's built in somehow. Maybe it is, maybe it's part of the game of life that we're playing here. It's like, hey, let's have a part of us that just wants to fuck everything up. And, it's like, I don't know. And we have to overcome that. I don't know. Richard, that was a great analogy. Thank you. I don't remember what it was, but I'm sure that it was great. I will agree with you on that. And Marcia, this was your idea a while back. Hello, Bobby. The ego is an imaginary friend that lies to you constantly. Yeah. The lie part. Yeah, I'm going to soften your words a tiny bit, because leaving it at that, to me, makes it sound like it's sinister. Like, I'm going to lie to you and I'm going to steer you off the cliff. I don't think that the ego has sinister motives in mind. It definitely lies, but not... I wouldn't call the ego a liar in the sense that it knows the truth and is deciding to deceive you. The ego is telling you lies that it believes is true. That's how I see the ego. And because it's trying to protect you. So by changing our perception of the ego to that, it suddenly becomes a scared little child instead of this evil monster trying to get us. because the evil monster is, we got to fight that. We got to get that. We got to figure out I got to go to therapy forever to figure out, what made me think that? And what did my mother do to me? It's like, but meanwhile, if we just realize, oh, wait, it's this little child that's scared of the dragon. Well, I know there's no dragon. Maybe if I tell it there's no dragon and then I show it that there's no dragon, eventually it won't be afraid of the dragon anymore. So that's my take on it, and that's what I'm trying to do. Reach for the stars. What our ego is afraid of. Remember this, Robin. Robin's writing notes to self in the comments. Oh, Robin, you're the best. Ray says, yesterday was breathe, today is feel. Feel. Really? Feel. Oh, we love you, Bobby. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I love you guys too. I really, really do. I've said this before. I love doing this. This is just one of my favorite things. And I'm just so grateful that you guys show up all the time and hang out with me and let me do this. So thank you. Kelly, a while back, I actually visualized my brain, ego, handing over the throne to my heart, intuition and spirit. Submitting to my heart as the leader. That's cool. That was a very soothing and empowering exercise for me to move through, to feel like the ego was learning its place. I'll tell you what I like about that is you created your own metaphor, your own analogy, your own visual world of how this works for Kelly, and went through the exercise, and it had a positive effect for you. What I would say to that is, to anyone, hearing this and reading that comment, is that it doesn't have to be the throne. You know what I mean? It's like there's nothing wrong with the throne, but it could be anything. It could be like, it gave me flowers. It could give me anything. Whatever works for you. So for Kelly, it was this handing over the throne to her heart. That's amazing. But you might just be like, I don't know what that means, and I can't get that. It doesn't matter what it means. Those are the words that Kelly chose for the vision that she created, and the feeling. Thank you, Ray. The feeling that she got from doing that exercise. You can do anything. It gave me the keys to the car. It could be anything at all. So great, Kelly. Thanks for that. That was awesome. Whew. Failure is not fatal unless you're stupid. But no, that's a very important distinction. Is failure is not fatal. Failure can be positive. Here's a couple ways. You know what? Hang on. I'm not going to even. I'm going to think on that. Man, this is happening like every day now. You know what I keep thinking of doing? I'm going to do it one day. I keep going to get my pad over here, right? And I keep thinking that I'm going to figure out a way to get like around this somehow, so that I can go off on that side and then come back in on this side and just be like, what? How did he do that? He's magic. And it's not, but I'm too big to get on my hands and knees and crawl onto the camera thing. I'm not doing that. And it's like, whatever. It doesn't matter. I got to write this down. What was I doing? Sometimes I go off on these tangents. I apologize for that. Failure is not fatal. That's what I was doing. Failure is not fatal. Look at that. It's even 4 words. Dude, you rock. Thank you. All right, that might be tomorrow's or whatever's. Robin says, I said here first, then raising my hand, and that confused you. Oh, you said here first. Okay, here, right, like I'm raising my hand at school. I figured that out, yeah. And that confused you, probably because of the large time between my cutoff comments. Yes, absolutely, that's why. But I love that about Daily Fuel, is that by the time I read things, I don't know what you're talking about. And then, and you guys know, because, it's more obvious, because you see the comments in the live moments, but I don't. There's so much more on the subject of the ego and how it's entwined with your soul. Yeah, I know. These are 15-minute snippets, But Marcia, rather, I would love your take on it because this was your idea. If you wanted to do a post on your take of the ego, I'd love for you to do that. If you're more than welcome to, even if you disagree with me. You don't. By the way, people watching Daily Fuel, nobody has to agree with everything I say. Most of this is like my take on it, what works for me. So. If you disagree on something that I say, you can tell me that. I'm not going to be offended. In fact, I'll listen, and if I think yours is better, I'll change my mind. So Marcia, definitely feel free to expand on your take of the ego. It doesn't have to be in the comments of this, unless you can keep it to 1,000 words or less. But whatever you'd like to do. And Lion's Tooth says, poor Van Gogh, maybe he got so hurt he lost his vision. I guess his ego killed him. Yeah, right? I mean, it's like, so Vincent Van Gogh, if you don't know I'm sure you know who he is, but he died like penniless, and he thought he was a failure as an artist, and of course he's Vincent Van Gogh now, but he wasn't then, and it wasn't for a while till after he died, but certainly somebody like that, who succumbs to their ego's worries so much that you can't even handle the worry, because we can worry so much that the thing we're worrying about feels realer than real life, and certainly more real than the magic that we're aspiring to. Because when you're so mired in the ego's lies that you can't even connect back to source at all. You can't even feel that possibility. You've lost hope. Once you've lost hope and you're not doing the work to get back to it, and you're just in belief of the ego's worries and lies, then that could be really sad, and in his case, he took his own life. So that's why I feel like what I try to do here is be like, no, don't do that. It's a lie. Let's hang out here and prop each other up, and let's build up together is what I would prefer to see. Too bad he wasn't in this group. Robin says, I'm so confused by this word ego, because I thought it was a good thing, and that the ego is when you have a big head after you get to where you want to be, and not something that prevents you from getting to where you want to go. So I have to rethink my meaning of the word for me, I guess. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I had it in my spiel, but I didn't really talk about it. It didn't seem to fit. But okay, so sometimes we use the word ego in terms of like even what Brandy said before, inflating Bobby's ego. Your ego, I usually talk about the ego in the sense of its purpose being to keep you safe. But the ego also has a side that is trying to inflate your importance within the material world. And this could even be another whole Daily Fuel in and of itself, but I don't really feel like getting too deep into it. I think this is why we see a lot of people in the spiritual communities who are not materialistic, to the point where they would shun materialism, and they would be like, I don't do this for money, or I don't care about having money and stuff like that, because the money is the root of all evil. And because the ego is the part of you that like wants it to want it. The ego is the part of you that is trying to puff up your importance in the material world, and trying to tell you that like you're awesome and you're like a millionaire because you're just really cool and other people aren't, right? Whereas if you were rich, or if you had the things in your life that you wanted, you had the relationships or the money or whatever it is that you want, and you knew you were achieving it because of your connection to the magic. That's not ego. That's having the resources to be here and do stuff the way you intended before you even came here. But when you're so mired in the importance of it, just to have it because I want to look better than them, that's ego. And again, it's another lie. It's just saying, instead of the lie of don't do that because you're going to get hurt, it's the lie of you're so cool because you're better than everybody else. It's a different lie, but it's the same thing. So that's what the ego is in that sense. But if I had put that in my spiel, it would have been an hour and a half. So I did not. The ego has undiscovered talent. Does it? I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. Richard, yes, you guys are... failure is not the end of the world. It teaches us. What about parachute failure? What do you mean? Do you mean like literally, or are you talking about the? What does that mean? Can you elaborate on that? I don't know what that means. That'll be $10. Okay, these are all in the moment comments. I think Bobby, you're hilarious, running all over the place. Oh wow, that was from back then. Okay, I don't know what we're talking about. Kelly disagrees with me. Catherine is late but here. Okay, hello, nice to see you. Richard, I've been to Goya's house and saw his paintings in Spain when I was a 9-year-old in Spain. Goya? I don't know who Goya is. Am I supposed to know who Goya is? Is everybody like, you don't know who Goya is? I have no idea. I'll look it up. Ego wants you to feel special instead of accepting love. Oh, thank you. That's really good, right? So it's ego wants you to feel special because you're better than everybody else, but it doesn't want you to accept love. It doesn't want you to accept the truth. The ego doesn't want you to accept the truth that you are a spiritual being having a human experience, because it doesn't know that. It doesn't know that, right? A little child doesn't understand. A little child thinks that, wow, look at me. I'm the coolest in class because I'm better than you, not because I've tapped into my source somehow and I'm able to get all the resources for my life that I intended to come here before I came here. No, it doesn't get that. It just doesn't get it. It's not even it's not like it's denying it. It doesn't even know it. Ego, inflate your importance in the real world. Yeah, that's it. Richard, it's like giving the ego keys to a car and he's been drinking and you have to take the keys, so to speak. Yes, it's like that. It's very much like that. I think my ego learned that love was cheap and started to prefer and crave validation. Lots of rewiring through both for and from myself. My ego learned that love was cheap. So your ego learned that wrong, or like you finally figured that out? Here, to me, this is an example of when we use different words for different things. So it started to prefer and crave validation. I'm not sure which side of the coin you're on with that. Like, I'm gonna leave that one because I'm not sure what you're saying. Hey, Laura's here. Hi, how are you? And Catherine says, how do you recommend people befriend their ego? I might have missed this part. You did. You missed it. I went through the whole thing. That was number one. Befriend your ego. I even called it that. No, I didn't. I would just say to treat your ego like it was a little child and you, the observer part of you, is the parent. How would you do that? Rather than treat your ego like it's some enemy that you're in a fight with that's trying to be sinister and lie to you. So, it's just, how would you treat a little child that's scared and doesn't understand that there's more to the universe than what it sees with its own eyes? That's how I would say to treat your ego. When you see it as a scared child who just wants to be safe, how would you treat that person? Probably a lot different than somebody that you were trying to vanquish. So that's how I would do it. And that's the last comment. So Catherine, congratulations. You're late, but you got the booby prize. You just swooped right in and stole it, unless somebody swoops in and steals it from you, which is probably going to happen. So thank you everybody for hanging out with me today, as per usual. See, Amy just swooped in and stole it. Mego is how I am now. Mego. Oh, ego? Well, I don't know what that means. Sometimes you guys, your typos just send me off in a loop, and I am just like, I don't know what you meant to say. Look at all of this. Booby and boob. I'm glad. So we just had a 35-minute conversation about the ego and not trying to be better than each other. And as soon as we get to the end, everyone's like, "Boobies! I got the prize!" that's our egos. Look at this one. Look at this. Seriously, are we children? me go. You want the booby prize, right? And Lego my ego. You people, booby is mine. Tits. Now we're just throwing things out there to get the prize. And Donna's laughing. All right, so Donna, you got the booby prize. I'm gonna go because no, look at this. Now you guys are all just the steals are lasting longer than the talk. Seriously, and shenanigans. So now Richard has the booby prize, and I'm going to and then Robin, and then Richard again. So you know what? You all can have the booby prize today. How about everybody gets boobies today? All right, everybody gets a booby. So have fun with them, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out. Have a great night or a day or whatever it is. Bye.